bum, bum. Hello and happy Friday, everyone, from a very rainy and cold Washington today. We are loving it. We are finally getting what's called our fall rains. So if you pay close attention, very faintly you can hear the light rain that's falling on our shop. So let me make sure that I am live in my group, and I just saw it. Because I want to make sure with the weather we didn't have any issues. Let me swipe. Here you go, babe.
Nice.
So today I thought we would do something kind of fun and simple, but very elegant and amazing looking. I made this one literally not more than an hour ago. So we're going to do the yarn and ribbon candy cane wreath, because I thought once you do it with just a solid red ribbon and then the white chunky yarn, it kind of gives it the look of your peppermint striped candy cane. So we're going to be doing this. This is not the new Dollar Tree frame. This is the old Dollar Tree frame. The one that has 7 sections. The new one, I believe, only has 5 and is only, I think, like 14 inches. This one is 21.5 inches finished, 10.5 inches wide, and then it's only 3 inches tall, which makes this perfect for storm doors. However, this is not, I repeat, not an outdoor wreath, because the yarn, there's nothing you can spray on it that's going to help it deal with rain, snow, ice, heavy winds, stuff like that. This is meant to be protected. So adding it to your household decor, adding it, maybe mixing them up and doing different colors for your kids' doors, just makes a really nice, simple decoration. It's great for hospice, apartment doors, office cubicles, stuff like that. So I'm going to show you how simple it is to put one together. What you will need is whatever ribbons you want to put together for your bow. You will need white chunky chenille yarn, and then you will need solid red ribbon. So I've done these before. You guys probably saw the Halloween one that we did. So this one's a little bit different because we don't really have a start and stop point that meets. So there is a hard stop and a hard stop, hard start. So we're going to need to like rethink the process in order to get it to look really super nice. So
and Candace said the larger candy canes are back, but
yes,
you have to order online.
Yes, you have to order them online. We went to our Dollar Tree store yesterday just to look around and see what was available, and they were just starting to put out Christmas. And they didn't even have, they had no wire wreath forms out. They had the football and they had the pumpkin so far. So just keep looking or go online and make sure, if you're not sure what which one you're ordering on the Dollar Tree site, make sure that when you're looking at it, you're looking for the ones that measure. This is exactly 21 inches tall without the chenille yarn, so you can see it doesn't really impact the width or the length very much. So some pre-prep work. Since this is a solid, I like this one because it was a solid satin. It does have wire edges, but I like the fact that it had a little bit of tinsel on the end. We're going to pre-prep this because it does need a start point. And I want to make sure that my ribbon pretty much for the most part stays along the 2 inside. So I'm going to tack it just right here. And this is going to be my start point for my ribbon. So I'm just going to secure this down, because if you remember when we did the other one, it didn't, like, our start and end point was the same. So we could kind of overlap and cheat a little bit. Here, there's really no way to cheat. a start point. So I am tacking this down so that my ribbon is ready to go. I bought my chenille yarn from, let's see, it's listed here. Michael's. No, I got it from Michael's. So I am pretty particular on, I don't want to see the frame. A good way to do it if you're doing white is simply spray paint the frame white. For obvious reasons, we can't spray paint it today because it is pouring outside. So we're going to make do with what we have. But what you want to do is you're going to take a fairly, like, let me measure this out, about 8 inches of yarn. And you're going to start, let me get rid of that glue. You're going to start weaving all the way around here. I think it's about 4 times up and over. And we're going to hide the end of the frame. So I'm just going to kind of like lace this around in all the sections to get rid of the end green. Okay, now we'll go in here. In, and you can always, you know, push your yarn down to make sure that you've got a really good tight piece in here. And what that does is it hides the ends right here, because if not, just by wrapping it, we're going to have this gap. So we've got to find a way to cover that. So I just found that by doing a simple little, you know, no sew, just a little tack with the glue, kind of puts that right in place. We'll put the finishing part right here. Hold that in place. And then we're going to do the simple part that I'm sure you guys probably remember, which is we're just going to start the wrapping process. So that's why we started about 8 inches in from here so that we can wrap. You're going to wrap 4 times all the way around. Okay. And if you want, always squish down. Try to get as much possible in there. Now this chenille yarn is not very thick. I did have...
Sharon said these are so fun to make.
They are so much fun to make. They do make a thicker, but I just didn't have enough of this to do the candy cane, so you can see the difference. The more chunkier yarn, it's gonna, when you do that full wrap, it's gonna be perfect. Here we might have to do just a little bit more, and I'm gonna be super particular about, you know, making sure that my sides are completely covered. There's no gaps, so I'm gonna keep them tight and right inside there. So I'm going to just roughly eyeball this out because I don't want to keep moving the entire roll of ribbon. So I'm going to kind of just go right about there. Should be good. We'll always leave a little bit extra. So that gets that out of the way. And then now what we're going to do is just simply take this, we're going to fold it back, and we're going to wrap twice right underneath that ribbon. This kind of creates that base. Okay, then we're going to pull our ribbon back. Remember, we want it to stay right on those middle 2 lines. So I am going to just simply now wrap right over the top of my ribbon. And I'm going to push these ones together. There we go. Push them all down. Okay. Make sure there's no gaps. Then simply take this, push it out of the way, and you're going to wrap it 2 more times. So right underneath, if you want to take your glue gun and just tack it so that it doesn't move up, you're welcome to do that. It's probably not a bad idea to do it every so often. So we did our 2. We're stretching this back over. try to do it from the bottom side. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4. I just wanted to get those on, so now I can bring these back down, get them over the frame, and really make sure my sides are completely covered. Again, flip your ribbon out of the way. We go 2. There's 1, and there's 2. I'll just make sure I bring them down. Keep them nice and tight. Do 1 more. That way I'm ready for my 4. Pull this back over the top. 4 more.
Sharon said I'm doing a class on making them next month.
Hang on a second. I've been doing this wrong. Let me look. I was supposed to be doing 2 over.
Oh yeah, 2 over.
2 over. Yeah. I just glad I caught this now. So there's only supposed to be 2. Okay. So 2 over. We flip our ribbon back and then do 4. So 1, 2, 3. I'm trying to do this with this really large candy cane piece. Okay. So there's 1. And I'm trying to get it through the frame so it doesn't stick. Push. Okay. Now it makes sense. I was like, why is my candy cane stripe so thin? And why is the white so thick? Okay. 2 over. There we go. Much better. And then always make sure I'm making sure my ribbon stays where it's supposed to. Okay. We're back on track. Okay. So there's 1, 2. Sorry, this is kind of going out of the camera. 3, 4. Pushing down. Pull this back. And we're 2 over. So just 1, 2. And then we're 4. Eeks. It's so much nicer when you're not doing it on camera in front of a bunch of people and then you realize, oh my gosh, I made a mistake. I didn't do it right. Okay, we're back to our 2 on. I want to keep this nice and tight. So there's 1, 2. See, now it looks better because we've got just as thick of our candy cane stripes. Oh, did I do that on the other one? No, I did not. I actually did that right on the other one. Okay. 4 on. So we're going to wrap it 4 times. Pay close attention when you're completing those the welds, because sometimes the backs of them have like a little jagged edge and that can tie up your yarn. So again, make sure everything is nice and tight. There's our 4. We're going to do our 2. I'm going to hold that right on there. So there's 1 and 2. And push them down. And then push this one back. The reason why this one is so challenging is because it is a hard plastic with a wire inside. So the inside is all satin, so it doesn't have an awful lot of tensile strength to the inside. So there's 3. Here's our 4. Slide it back. I guess I should always get it ready. Okay, so there's 1. There's 2. Push down if you need to fill the gaps. What I noticed is that if you don't, you won't have enough yarn loaded to cover your gaps if you needed to go back and say just tack your glue down. There's 2, 3. Here's our 4. Let's get this ready for our over. Make sure it stays right on top. So there's 1. Here's our second one. What do you guys think so far? Do you like the way that it looks? And I'm making sure that there's like no wrinkles in my ribbon at all. Flip it back. Do your 4. There's 2.
Everyone joining in.
3. 4. Push them down. Make sure they're nice and tight. Hold your ribbon right across the top. We're going to do 2 over. Want to make sure it's not over. There it goes. 1.
I'm sorry, I said love it.
2. It was so much easier doing the round ones because you just go all the way around. And then of course my ribbon choice was a lot softer cotton, so that worked really well. There's number 4. Squeeze them down. Pull this up right over the top. There's 1. There is 2. I just think that it gives the appearance of a true candy cane so much better. 4. So now 1, 2, 3, 4. Push them down. Now going around the corners is going to be challenging because your ribbon doesn't curve. It doesn't curve. So you're going to kind of have to manipulate it a little bit as you, you know, get it to go around your 2. Like right here I can probably get it one more time. And then I have to start doing like a little hidden fold to get it to go around the corner and keep it nice and thick and straight. So here's our 4, 2, 3, 4. Let's really push that down. Okay, so now we're going to start to make an ever so slight turn so that, like, if you had to do it, let me get it over. You can kind of slightly bend it a bit to get it to go around. So I'm making the turn right here.
Catherine said very cute and festive. Rosario said thank you for teaching us.
You're so welcome. So see how it wants to pucker? I don't want it to pucker. Okay. Now as we bend it back this way, we're going to do our 4. Really push it down. So you can kind of tuck it in as we're making our going around the corner. Okay, so we're always trying to follow that, like I'm trying to keep this edge right along my candy cane form. So be generous on your yarn. Always making sure, like I said, to push it down, push it back, do whatever you need to. Because the greatest success on your design will depend on what your sides look like. Can you see that wreath form going all the way through? Okay, so I'm going to make sure. See, this edge just wants to fold. This is where you've got that wired edge. So I'm just going to make sure we pull as we go through. Okay, I'm going to pull this over and get this ready. If you need to make any slight adjustments, like if you want to put a fold in, put it under your 2. Watch, when I flip this one back, I'll show you what I did. So we kind of put a little bit of a fold in there. A little. So now I can kind of just manipulate my ribbon so that it is back around. And we still have to keep doing that as, because that's a pretty big corner, right?
Yeah, Rosario said I've never done one like this, but we'll try to do one.
It's really not that hard. Just take your time. And you'll love it. Once you get them all put together, you'll really like the whole process. Okay, I'm getting ready to go over on my 2. Okay. We're getting down to the end. It should go faster now. Going around the corner is the hardest. Hopefully your ribbon is not as stiff as mine is, because it's not like a edge to it. So it doesn't want to mold very well. So we will finesse that a little bit more once we get it back down. Nice and tight. 2 over. Okay, we're going to do 4. And I am actually going to tack. I'm going to cut this and I'm going to tack this here because once again we have that same issue like we did in the start and the finish where we've got to tack down our edge for the red.
Hi Anna, she said, yep. Once you do one and get the hang of it, you can literally do these in like a half an hour. Yep.
Yeah, I think I did mine a little quicker. And then the one thing that I noticed is I didn't really make sure that I was very tight. Like right here, you can see there's no frame showing. So now when I do my 2 over, we are good. And then I'm going to leave myself a little bit of a tail because once again, I want to make sure that we're nice and tight there. We have to do our little sew method to get rid of that frame. Just like we did at the start, we have to sew and finish our bottom. Okay, now I'm into the middle section.
Like you said, I did my first one yesterday. I like doing it. I ordered more frames online.
So are you, Jackie, are you doing the round or are you trying to do some of the forms now?
The candy cane.
Yeah, like this was my first for the candy cane. I mean, I've done the one for,
Wreath.
yeah, the Halloween wreath. So this is, I just wanted to tackle this. And I thought, you know what, if we just didn't do like a regular candy cane striped ribbon, but just did a solid red, maybe when we're alternating, then it looks like those are the little indents for the candy. See, this is where I've got that ribbon folded. There we go. Get the fold out of it. Okay, so now that we finished this, we're going to cut this one off. I'm going to go ahead and tack that one back in place here. Let that one loop over. Now, if you have any places where your frame is starting to show, what you can do is just put just a little dab of glue and then grab your chenille and pull your chenille together so that you can fill in those gaps. This is where I was saying the more diligent you are about making sure everything is nice and tight, you shouldn't have that many of them. Okay. So now we're going to do our bow, which is also going to double as our hanger. So there is our candy cane complete. Did not take that much yarn.
Yeah, tack down the bottom one.
Oh, this one? I just needed to cut him off. I already tacked him down. He's already finished. There we go. Okay, so now we're going to do the bow. All right. These are my ribbon choices. I have 2 different types of peppermint stripe, one going one direction, the other going the other. We're going to integrate that red in here. We're going to do a red dotted line on white. I also have this red with the polka dots on it. So those are going to be my 5 ribbon choices. And I'm going to start with this. And I'm going to do an 8.5 inch tail. If you're not sure about the tail length, your bow is going to go about up here. You're not going to put your bow up here or way down below. It kind of goes up like right here, like a shepherd's staff would. So about right where it diagonals, we're going to put our bow. So however long you want your bow tail length to be will be your starting point. So I'm going to do 8. And you don't have to be super precise on this.
Hi Linda, hi gals joining.
So I am going to do 4.5-inch loop. Let's do 5. We'll do 5, 2 4.5s, a 4, and a 3.5.
Right, Anna? Anna said everyone loves doing these because they're pretty easy to do.
They're really good for kids to be able to do because it's an easy design, right? So we want to make sure this one goes out 8 inches. I'm going to do my dovetail fold, which is wired edges together. And we always cut to the pointed edge from the folded side. Okay. So there is that one. And now I'm going to do our red that we did on our candy cane. So see what I'm saying? This has no tensile strength at all. So it's very flexible. This is why most people don't use satin ribbon. Is because it does not, if you were doing canvas, canvas would hold its shape. So I'm going to do this at 7.5. Even trying to get it straight just to do my, let's make this one a little bit longer. We're going to go up and over. And we're going to bring this one in to 4.5, right there. Up and over, 4.5. And then we're going to go out just a little bit longer. Because we'll probably trim this one up after we make our bow. Because I just felt it needed to be just a touch longer. See, it just does not even want to stay in the Bodabra correctly.
Hey Rena, she asked how much would you charge for this?
Here's the whole thing. Shipping, right? It's 21 inches in diameter. So I'll have to look at that when we do it on the box. A lot of people are just doing flat rate and offering free shipping, or some people are doing like $7 shipping. So it's just like, you want to make sure that if you have to pay for shipping, because you know we're not going to get a break on Christmas shipping rates, I'm thinking on average just to ship it, it's going to be somewhere between $15 and $20 to ship, which means that the wreath will probably be about $45 in order to kind of be fair. And I think that that would be reasonable. If we could, by some miracle, find a way to do this in a smaller box, then obviously you can, you know, go smaller. Okay.
So far, we all know is the last 2 years everything's gone up in price.
Yeah. But you could do this too. Because these are so small, you can probably get 2 in a box. So maybe you make them as a set. Because then you could offer a better deal on shipping. Because then you can get like 2 for 1 shipping rate. So you might want to do something like that. It depends on where the majority of your customer base is. I just really wish there was an alternative method, and I'm hoping by the grace of God that that will change soon for people like us that make large items that are lightweight, but we're being penalized as though these are heavy items in big boxes. These are great for those of you doing local craft fairs. So you could probably sell these at a local craft fair for like $35, $40. But remember, these are not meant to be outside. There is no amount of weatherproofing, waterproofing that you can do to get that yarn to come back. You know, some people are like, well, I left it out, it got all wet, but I'm hoping it'll dry. It will just never dry right. So just take precautions. If you have a storm door, it's great because you can put it right in between those glass door fronts and you're good. So I'm just looking at my ribbon lengths and my tail lengths and just like coming down ever so slightly. Like if you notice, I've been bringing them down just a little bit. Even the tail lengths just a little bit off. I'm not really measuring. I'm just, because at some point it's going to be like the loop size might be bigger than the tail length. So here's my last one. And let's see where this one winds up. So this is what I was doing. I was basically doing this. And I'm like, ooh, that looks good. Maybe a little bit longer. And then I'm just going up and around, measuring that a little bit shorter. Than the one before it. And then same thing with the ribbon tail. Kind of coming in here. And then I'm going to show you how we put it all together. Create a hanger. So I think that's probably what I will do. I will probably sell 2 for the price that everyone else is selling their 1.
Elaine said they've been good sellers for her at both craft fairs and in a boutique.
So, have you made the candy canes, Elaine? You get a those are not the ones. That's pink. Let me grab one. Where are my whites? There they are. Okay. We needed a white. Okay, sandwich method. Super simple. And you could elaborate on the embellishments. You could add like the little Hobby Lobby little picks for like 99 cents that look fabulous. I'm pulling all my tails down. Everything down. I gotta get this one up here. Since this is in what I call like a up and down bow, all the tails are going to hang at the bottom. So move all your tails down first. Just like this. We're going to go ahead and lace this. So the great thing about this wreath is we already know where the frame is because our ribbon sits right on that frame. I'm going to go in right about here with my pipe cleaner. Right in there. Right in on the other side. Just, you know, move your chenille yarn out of the way. Okay, I have my finger all the way through the back. There we go. I was like, why is it not wanting to go? And then look and figure out, is that, I kind of like that right here. So I'm going to twist it on a couple times. We are going to do our fluffing on our wreath. So I'm going to go high with the top 2, like here and here. Well, actually here and here. Opposites.
Hi, Kate. Happy Friday.
We're doing the same thing here. Here and
So
here.
I made the candy cane you showed it using tube from the Dollar Tree.
Oh, okay. Yeah, flex tubing. So I'm going to go up with this one, and we're still letting that candy cane sit in the center, just like this. We'll pull all our ribbon tails down. Do the same thing here. Make sure that's where they wind up, is down here at the bottom. We'll put our little curls back in them. Grab these. Oop. This one snuck up there. Rain. Okay. Pull this one down. There we go. So, nice little bow. When we flip it over, this is going to be our hanger. So all we're simply going to do is just twist your pipe cleaners one into the other. Here's the reason is when I hang mine on my door, you can hang it from here, but I prefer not to see my wreath frame. So I like my frame to be, you know, a little bit centered on the door, so I don't see it up here. But the customer has two choices. We just added that extra one with adding our pipe cleaner down here. You could do the same thing up here if you want your hanger up a little bit higher. And what I was talking about with the embellishments is like you have these that Hobby Lobby sells. You could take these, you could, I'm just going to lightly technically stick these into the bow, kind of twist them. And you could add little peppermint candies to your wreath if you want. You can add, you know, you can pull these apart and tuck these in. Do I have any that are off? No, not with any decent hanger. But like, snip these and then you can put them a little bit more in the front of your wreath.
Everything else that I've done several in the last couple of years. One's made with the red and black burlap are really good sellers.
Nice. Red and black burlap.
Yeah.
Candy canes? Or just the wreaths in general?
I mean, probably just the wreath in general.
So something like that would be adorable. And you could even take a smaller one and put it in the center. But how you choose to decorate or elaborate on that is entirely up to you. But what do you guys think so far? Do you guys like how this turned out? Is this going to be something that you want to try? Do you have any questions at all about this? I think we've done everything that we can do. Yep. So again, it's storm door approved. It'll work on a storm door, which is nice because a lot of people are looking for wreaths that they can put on their storm door. Any questions, babe?
That said you can do them green and white. Yeah. Oh
yeah, you definitely could. You could do green and white, make peppermint. You'd have to get really creative if you wanted to do like a green, a white, you know, and alternate the ribbon, but you could definitely do it. It just might take you manipulating and maybe gluing them in place to do red, white, and green.
I think 2.5 inch would be too wide.
2.5 inch?
Yeah.
No, those are all 1.5 inches. Those are 2.5. See, here's the problem with 2.5. No. Look how wide it is.
Yeah.
It's a little too wide. You wouldn't really be able to see. You could, but you're really, I mean, less than 1/2 inch on either side is what you'd be looking at for that. All right, everyone. Well, thanks for joining me. I will see you guys on Sunday at 5, which is Pacific time. Your time in Central will be 7, and Eastern time will be 8. Have an amazing weekend. I know we're going to be building an ark because it is really wet and slushy outside, so we're going to be going and looking for rain boots. So if you guys have any rain boot suggestions, please feel free to leave them in the comments of where you can get some all-weather rain boots that somebody sells locally. All right, everyone. Thanks for joining, and I'll have it. Talk to you soon.